Chapter 10: Shadows and Eclipses. For you to see things around, you require light. The sun lights up the day, and the moon lights up the night. Besides giving light, the sun also gives us warmth. Objects that give out light are called luminous objects. The sun, a bulb, torch, candle, and firefly are examples of luminous objects. Objects that do not give out their own light are called non-luminous objects. A table, stove, paper, and tree are examples of non-luminous objects. You can see an object when light from a luminous source falls on it, and the reflected light from the object enters your eyes. The moon does not have its own light. It shines because it reflects the sun's light that falls on it. Factopedia. A lanternfish has a number of spots that give out light. Light is an invisible source of energy that creates a sensation of vision. Light from a source travels in a straight line. This property of light to travel in a straight line is called rectilinear propagation of light. Kinds of objects. Different objects allow different amount of light to pass through them. Depending on the amount of light that can pass through objects, objects can be grouped as follows. Opaque objects. Objects through which light cannot pass at all are called opaque objects. Opaque objects form clear dark shadows. A pencil, a book, wood, etc. are examples of opaque objects. Translucent objects. Objects through which light can pass partially are called translucent objects. Translucent objects form faint shadows. Plastic sheet, frosted glass, and butter paper are examples of translucent objects. Transparent objects. Objects through which light can pass totally are called transparent objects. Transparent objects do not form shadows. Clean air, clean water, and transparent paper are examples of transparent objects. Formation of shadows. Shadow is a dark region formed behind the object through which light cannot pass. It is important to note that shadows are always formed opposite to the source of light. Shadows are always black in color. The size of a shadow varies with the position of the source of light. You must have noticed that the size of your shadow keeps changing during the daytime. Your shadow is long in the mornings and evenings because the rays of the sun are slanting. The size of your shadow is smallest at noontime when the sun is overhead. This is because the rays of the sun have to travel the shortest distance. Factopedia. As the sun moves westwards, the direction of the shadow moves eastwards. The moon shines because of the sun. You know that the moon is the brightest object in the night sky. The moon has no light of its own. It shines because it reflects the sun's light. You see different phases of the moon due to the light of the sun that falls on different portions of the moon as it moves around the earth. The moon is the earth's natural satellite and its closest neighbor. The surface of the moon is uneven, with plains and mountains. There is no air or water on the moon, hence, no life exists on it. The moon's gravity is 6 times less than that of the Earth's. The side of moon that faces the sun is very hot, and the side that is away from the sun is very cold. The moon and tides. Tides are the periodic rise and fall of the sea water due to the gravitational pull of the moon. The water in the sea facing the moon is pulled upwards and is called a high tide. Another high tide occurs on the opposite side because of the Earth's movement. The water level falls in the region between 2 high tides, forming a low tide. Due to the Earth's rotation, 2 high tides and 2 low tides occur every day in the sea. The highest tides occur on a new moon and full moon night. Eclipses. An eclipse is a shadow formed in space that makes the sun or the moon invisible for some time. You have learned that the sun is a star and is fixed in position. The earth revolves around the sun and the moon revolves around the earth. When the sun, earth and the moon come in a straight line, an eclipse occurs. Eclipses are of two kinds. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon comes between the sun and the earth. The moon casts its shadow on the earth. People on some parts of the earth cannot see the sun. A solar eclipse can be total or partial. A total solar eclipse occurs when the sun cannot be seen at all. A partial solar eclipse occurs when a part of the sun can be seen. Factopedia. A low tide leaves many sea creatures like moon snails and sea anemones on the seashore. Life skills. Never view a solar eclipse with naked eyes, as it can damage your eyes. Lunar eclipse. A lunar eclipse occurs when the earth comes between the sun and the moon. The earth's shadow falls on the moon. People on the earth cannot see the moon. A lunar eclipse occurs on a full moon night. A partial lunar eclipse occurs when the moon is partly hidden. A total lunar eclipse occurs when the moon is totally hidden. Artificial satellites. Artificial satellites are man-made machines that are sent into space to orbit planets like the Earth. Satellites are launched with the help of rockets. The first artificial satellite to be launched was Sputnik I in 1957. Aryabhata was India's first artificial satellite. India has launched a number of artificial satellites under INSAT series and has also launched Chandrayaan-1 to orbit the moon in the year 2008. Artificial satellites are controlled from the centers on the Earth. Artificial satellites are useful to man in the following ways. Communication satellites. These satellites are used to relay television and radio programs. They also help in sending telephone signals to far-off places. INSAT-3E is a communication satellite. Weather satellites. These satellites help to predict the weather. They give warnings of forthcoming storms, cyclones, etc. Remote sensing satellites. These satellites take photographs of the Earth and help scientists to study the features of the Earth. Cartosat-1 is a remote sensing satellite. Scientific studies satellites. These are the satellites that help scientists to study outer space and new words. Luminous objects. Objects that give out their own light. Non-luminous objects. Objects that do not produce their own light. Opaque objects. Objects through which light cannot pass at all. Translucent objects. Objects through which light can pass partially. Shadow, a dark image of an object that is formed when light cannot pass through it. Eclipse, a shadow formed in space that makes the sun or moon invisible for some time. Lunar eclipse, an eclipse in which the earth casts its shadow on the moon. Solar eclipse, an eclipse in which the moon casts its shadow on the earth. Tides, the periodic rise and fall of the water level in oceans due to the moon's gravity and the earth's movement. Artificial satellite, a man-made machine that is sent into space to orbit a planet. A quick recall. Sun is the main source of light and heat on the earth. We can see an object when light falls on it and gets reflected. Depending on the amount of light that can pass through it, objects can be grouped as opaque, translucent, or transparent. A shadow is formed when light falls on an opaque object and cannot pass through it. Shadows are formed on the side opposite to the source of light and are always black in color. The shape of the shadow is similar to the object. The size of the shadow varies with the position of the source of light. Shadows are also formed in space when the sun, the moon, and the earth come in a straight line. Eclipses are of two kinds, lunar and solar eclipses. The moon is our Earth's natural satellite. No life exists on the moon due to the absence of air and water. The moon's gravity causes tides in ocean. Artificial satellites are useful to man in communication, weather forecast, to study space, etc.